In this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact content system that I use to post high quality content consistently without burning out while working on average less than 4 hours a week on actually creating content. Posting consistently is incredibly important, especially as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. If you have other responsibilities, finding time to create content consistently is really hard. So this system makes it easy. Just want to talk about the problem that you're probably, facing right now or experiencing. Most business owners, unfortunately, are posting randomly, right? Whenever you feel inspired or have an idea, or when you finally find some free time in between, client calls and client work and all these different things. But unfortunately, that just leads to inconsistent posting, right? Poor quality content and this feeling that you're always behind. No matter how much time you spend on content, you just feel like you're always behind. And I've felt this way myself, and that's why I built out this system, right? But the reality is, when you're creating content inconsistently, your business is going to be inconsistent, especially if you rely on content for your business to attract new leads. Fewer eyes on your brand, fewer leads coming in, and that's going to ultimately mean fewer clients in your pipeline and less revenue for you. Luckily, there's a solution, right? If you want to actually grow your brand, grow your audience, and grow your business simultaneously with content, you need a structured weekly workflow, right? And this isn't rocket science. I'm going to break it down really, really simply in a few minutes here. But you need a system that allows you to execute regardless of how busy, how tired, or uninspired you feel. And after posting for 5 years, the system that actually does that and that I've developed is what I call content batching, right? So what actually is content batching? It basically involves devoting a specific day of the week to do a specific content function and actually blocking off time in your calendar that day to make sure that you don't have a last minute meeting pop up. You don't have other work that you're going to do instead. You need to schedule in content time in your calendar, especially as a busy business owner, to actually get this done. Right? So each day of the week, we're assigning a specific content task. So one day for research, one day for scripting, one day for filming, one day for basically uploading the footage to your editing team. And the goal is by Friday, your entire week of content is filmed and with your editing team to kind of work on over the weekend. So I'm going to break this down, step by step. But this is the weekly content creation schedule that you definitely should be following. So the weekly flow looks like this. On Monday, we're going to do content research. On Tuesday, we're going to script the videos. On Wednesday, we're going to film. And then on Thursday, you're going to organize the footage and basically upload it to your editing team. So let's kind of break this each step down, step by step. So Monday, we're going to research. The goal here is to basically come up with between 5 and 7 winning content ideas that we want to, create content around for the week. It obviously depends on how many videos you want to be posting that week or, posting in a month. But for me, I always try to get at least 5 and ideally 7 videos ideated. And so I want you to block out 60 minutes in your calendar for this Monday research section. I like to do it kind of first thing in the morning, early in the day, just to make sure that, I can get it over with, but it's up to you. So I just want to kind of briefly explain how I recommend doing, content research. So there's kind of 3 stages or 3 ways that you can come up with winning content ideas. And I have a complete guide on this, like a full guide as well, that you're happy to check out in the link in the description, second link. But I'm just going to walk you through it quickly. So, the place one where you can find ideas is from your own lives, right? So your daily experiences, your client conversations, the things that you actually, are going through day to day, running your business and seeing, hearing from other people. So in terms of coming up with ideas from this place, you can ask yourself kind of these 3 questions. What did you learn? What are you struggling with? Or what did you figure out this week? What questions or objections came up on client calls or sales calls? And what would you tell someone who's earlier on their journey than you are? The second place you can find winning content ideas are just by scrolling Instagram and, saving what's working. So I call this the scroll save method. So as you're scrolling Instagram, save videos from competitors that are in your niche that are already getting strong engagement, right? And over time, you're going to build up this bank of strong content ideas that you can then go back through when you're doing content research, and you can steal their hooks, you can steal the topic in general, you can steal the format. All these different things are kind of right there for you to pull from. And again, they're already proven to perform well because they have already. And then stream 3 is really, using AI to help with this. And so I use Sandcastle's AI. I basically have a competitor list, and I can filter this competitor list by what's called an outlier score. Basically, a high outlier score means that the video did, better than each creator's average views. And so here I can kind of just automatically sort and filter to show my competitors' outlier videos or high performing videos, and pull from those in terms of the idea, the format, the hook, all these different things. Step 4 is, once you kind of have all these ideas, it's like, how do you get it down to 7 or 5? How do you kind of take all this larger number of good ideas and decide which are the ones that you actually want to create around? So this is where I like to filter the ideas through what I call a personal performance matrix. But basically, you want to evaluate each idea on 2 factors. The first is going to be personal resonance, and that just means, are you actually passionate about this idea? Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to create a piece of content on this idea? And then the second factor is going to be, performance. Has this idea been proven to perform well online already? And ideas that score high on, both personal resonance and performance are the ideas that you want to prioritize for this next step. Then the last step of this research process, which again you're going to be doing on Monday, and should take an hour or even less, is to, based on the filter that we just went through, add your top 5, 6, or 7 ideas to a Notion content pipeline to basically stay organized with the videos that you want to be creating, and then you can move on to the next step, which is scripting, which I'm going to talk about next. So on Tuesday, we're going to be scripting out these video ideas that we came up with on Monday. And here I recommend blocking around 60 to 90 minutes in your calendar. Scripting takes a little bit longer, I've found, than ideation, but it's really important. So there's a few steps here that I want to go through. Step 1 is you want to choose the right scripting framework. So I like to think of scripting frameworks as kind of two main types. The first is, if I want to be posting more of like an educational kind of value-based video, I structure it in a certain way with a certain scripting style. And then if I want to have more of a personal storytelling video, then I use a separate scripting structure. And I'll go over this briefly. It's not like super important that you know each part of the scripting structure. It's more important that you just understand that Tuesday is for scripting, and that you're actually able to script all the videos that you ideated on Monday. But if we're going to look at, creating a value-driven video or an educational video, I use this Havoc framework. And so it basically looks like hook, you amplify the hook, you give value, you create an open loop to create curiosity, and then you end with a call to action. Again, I have a complete guide on writing winning scripts as well. Feel free to DM me on Instagram and I'll send that over. But this is the format I use for kind of that educational based video. And then if it's a storytelling video, I use what I call the hero's journey framework. And that looks like this. It's a little bit longer. It's still really simple. You start with a hook. You talk about the before. You talk about the change. You talk about the after. You talk about the outcome of that change. You talk about the realization that you had from that experience. And then you kind of end with a takeaway that you want the audience to walk away with from the video. Again, super simple. I have an in-depth guide on this as well. That said, not all of your videos are going to need to be scripted. A lot of them can just be kind of bullet points about, I would definitely recommend kind of scripting out the hook, but the rest of it can just be main bullet points that you want to talk about. And that way it's going to feel a little bit more authentic. It's going to be a little easier to do because you don't need to necessarily memorize everything. And so that's another way to kind of script videos as well, if you don't want to actually write it out word for word. And then step 2 is really just kind of scripting each video, step by step. So I like to work through each video idea one at a time, making sure that if the video is more complex or needs to be structured properly, that we actually are writing out a full script. But if the video is more, conversational or story-based, feel free to add just bullet points and more of a broad outline. Ideally, with the scripting, you want to have a script that is going to take 75 seconds or less to actually read. If it's more than 75 seconds, retention on the video is just going to drop. So make sure that your scripting isn't too long. And so, to help ensure that, I recommend reading out your script like out loud to make sure that it's less than 75 seconds. It flows properly. You feel like this is kind of how you would speak naturally, because writing it is one thing, but actually saying it out loud gives you a deeper perspective about if the script actually sounds natural. Right, so that is Tuesday's scripting. Again, devote 60 to 90 minutes, block out this in your calendar to script all the ideas that we came up on Monday. So Wednesday is all about filming. This is really simple, right? We've come up with good ideas. We've scripted those ideas. Now it's just a matter of sitting down, getting some good lighting on us, pressing record, and actually just going through all the ideas. Ideally kind of in one go, like batching these ideas. So you actually sit down, you do one video, you take a short break, you do the next, and you kind of repeat that process until all the videos are filmed. I'll go into a little bit more detail, but there's really just two main steps. The first is setting up your space. So make sure that your lighting is good, you're happy with how your background looks, it's clean, it's not too cluttered. You look good in terms of how you're being framed in the camera. And then you leave it. You don't readjust things between every video. Just keep things as simple and easy as possible. Once you have a setup that you're happy with, just run with it. Again, I have a complete filming guide as well. You can message me on Instagram for. It goes into kind of way more depth on how to set up your lighting, how to set up your gear, like all the different equipment you need, things like that. But again, we're just focused on kind of the higher level steps in this video. And step 2 is going to be, film your videos back to back. So work through your scripts in order. Starting from the top, I recommend kind of like a pro tip, changing your outfit at least once or twice, especially if you're filming, 7+ videos, to make sure that when you post them, it doesn't look like they were all filmed at the exact same time and make your feed kind of look boring. So you feel free to like throw in a hoodie or something like that, just to vary up the visual aesthetic of the videos as you go through them. I also recommend taking short breaks between videos to, rest, drink some water, just take a few seconds to kind of catch your breath, and then move into the next one. And in terms of kind of memorizing the scripts and everything like that, I recommend memorizing a few lines at a time from your script. So like I'm memorizing on my script. I'm then looking into the camera and then saying the lines, and then I'm kind of back to memorize the next few lines of the script. This is the way that works for me best. I've been doing this for years, and it's the best way at this point. That's Wednesday's filming. Again, block out between an hour and an hour and a half. It shouldn't honestly take more than an hour to do between 5 to 7 videos. And I like to film my videos at night. I just like the aesthetic. I feel like I'm a little bit less rushed, but whatever works for you with your schedule. So then Thursday is the last day of doing anything, and it's a really light day. It's basically just, now that we have the filmed videos, it's kind of like, how are we getting it? How are we packaging them and sending them to our editors in a way that's organized and professional? So for Thursday, we're basically going to organize the footage and upload it. I recommend blocking around 60 minutes. It should probably only honestly take 45 minutes to kind of get this done, but it's a really simple process. So the first step is really going to be transferring your footage from your camera to your computer. Just eject your SD card from your camera, plug it into your computer, and kind of drag over all the footage from Wednesday's filming onto your computer. The next step is optional. It's color grading. So if you really care about how the visuals look and things like that, which I personally do and a lot of my clients do, I basically upload my footage to an editing software, Final Cut Pro, and do a really quick color grade. So I apply my signature LUT, which basically takes the footage from what's called like a log picture profile to the final look, or a very cinematic look. It's really just kind of a drag and drop preset that helps me do that. I make a couple small changes. I increase the highlights. I drop the shadows down a little bit. But again, if you don't really care about how the footage looks too much, if you don't color grade your own stuff, you can skip this step. Again, I have a full guide on this as well. The next step, which is also optional, is to sync your audio. So if you recorded your audio on a separate microphone, like I am doing right now, you're gonna have to make sure that you sync it up, in the edit before you send it over to your editors, and make sure that, the audio syncs with the specific video clip. If you're using like a wireless microphone setup where, part of it's clipped to your shirt and, the other part is clipped to the camera, it should be synced up already when you export the footage. So you shouldn't need to worry about that. But if you are kind of using a professional microphone, you'll need to sync that up. The last step, or one of the last steps, is just sending the footage to the editor. So you're basically going to upload all the footage from Wednesday to a shared folder after you color grade, after you sync the audio, everything like that, for your editor to access. You can do this in Google Drive. You can do this in Dropbox. I like to use this application called Frame.io. I find it's kind of the best way to do this. And then in terms of actually how to organize this footage in Google Drive or Frame.io, you basically just create folders by month. So January, February, March. Right now it's April. And then within April, you would have the specific date in April that you filmed, all the footage. So, if I filmed yesterday, which is April 19th, then I would have an April folder, and inside I would have an April 19th folder. And then that's where I would drag and drop each individual video, whether that's 5, 6, or 7, into that folder. But that's really the entire process. I find this is the best way to create consistent, high quality content that allows you to grow your brand and your business kind of with minimal effort on your end. If you are an entrepreneur and you want my help working with you directly one-on-one to build a personal brand that doesn't just grow your followers but actually grows your business as well, feel free to book in a call with me. It's the first link in the description of this video. And other than that, I hope you got a lot of value from this video, and I will see you in the next one.